God tier? How is Shrek 4 God tier? Whatever. My mom wants she's already read it. She really wants me to get to the iceberg chapter. She was like, when is the iceberg one coming? So that's, the chapter for today is Promises. And then the one after that is the iceberg. And apparently things heat up in the iceberg chapter. Contradiction. Mom, someone asked if they can see you. That is completely up to her. That is her prerogative. She's coming over! Say hi to both the TikTok people and the YouTube people.
Hi, TikTok people and YouTube people. I'm in the kitchen cooking.
Recap of Chapter 5, Revelations. So at the end, first of all, at the end of Chapter 4, Kyoshi was singing off the top of her head, and Kelsang was like, excuse me, where did you learn that? And so in Chapter 5, he's like, bruh, that's Avatar Kuruk's poem that he read to me, like word for word. And she's like, I can't be the Avatar. And he's like, here's the thing. The only reason we picked Avatar Yoon is because he was, they were in Makapu Village, and he was playing Pai Sho, but he was using all of Kuruk's strategies, which are like super complex and individual, and they were like, whoa, he's doing every single move that Kuruk did and never shared with anyone. He must be the Avatar reincarnated, because like they had nothing else to go on because they were really desperate. This was only 2 years ago when Yoon and Kyoshi were 14. And so then he's like, so you read that poem, and so you also should be in the running for being considered to be the Avatar, since that's all we're going off of now. The real tests didn't work. Now we're just using like intuition. And also we learned that he wrote the poem for Heidan. Remember Heidan? She's Rangi's mom, who is currently Avatar Yoon's firebending tutor. And she married someone else. And she just married that guy when Kuruk wrote this poem and was gonna profess his love to her. And then Kelsang was like, no, 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 please do not ruin their relationship. They just got married. And Kyoshi's like, thank God you did that, because I have a crush on Rangi and she would have never been born. She doesn't say that, but you know, that's the vibe. So this chapter is just stress. They're just stressed out. Scooby-Doo-bop. And she's like, okay, fine, I'll think about it, but please don't tell anyone while I still try to figure this out. And then at the very end of the chapter, Yoon stops by at her room. Yoon, room, that doesn't rhyme. I thought it rhymed. So now we're gonna start chapter 6. Chapter 6. Oh, I have to do this. Chapter 6. Promises. You know, this is much harder when you're around, Kyoshi said to the Avatar. She and Yoon sat on the floor in one of the innumerable receiving rooms. The freestanding screen paintings had been folded up and pushed to the walls, and the potted plants had been set outside to make room for the giant piles of gifts that guests had brought for the Avatar. Yoon lay on his back, taking up valuable free space. He lazily waved a custom-forged, filigreed gen blade around in the air, stirring an imaginary upside-down pot with it. I have no idea how to use this, he said. I hate swords. A boy who doesn't like swords, Kyoshi said with a mock gasp. Put it in the armory pile and we'll get Rangi to teach you. And we'll get Rangi to teach you at some point. There were a lot of guesses around the village about what exactly Kyoshi did in the mansion. Yeah, I've been wanting to know exactly what she does in the mansion. Given her orphaned, unwanted status, the farmer's children assumed she handled the dirtiest, most impure jobs, dealing with the refuse and carcasses and the like. The truth was somewhat different. What she really did, as her primary role, was pick up after Yoon. That feels like a metaphor. We'll come back. Tidy his messes. The Avatar was such a slob that he needed a full-time servant, that's hilarious, following in his wake, or else the chaos would overwhelm the entire complex. Soon after taking her on, sorry, that's making me laugh so much. Soon after taking her on, The senior staff discovered Kyoshi's strong, compulsive need to put things back in their rightful place, minimize clutter, and maintain order. So they put her on avatar containment duty. This time, the pile they sat hip-deep in was not Yoon's fault. Wealthy visitors were constantly showering him with gifts in the hope of currying favor, or simply because they loved him. As big as the house was, there wasn't enough room to give each item a display place of honor. On a regular basis, Kyoshi had to sort and pack away the heirlooms and antiques and works of art that only seemed to get more lavish and numerous over time. "Oh, look," she said, holding up a... It's okay. "Oh, look," she said, holding up a lacquered circle set in a crisscross pattern with luminous gems. "Another pie show board." Yoon glanced over. That one's pretty. "This is, without exaggeration, the 44th board you own now. You're not keeping it." Ugh, ruthless. Sidebar, this is exactly how my mom and I go through my stuff, especially when I was little. She'd be like, "You have too many of this. We're getting rid of it." Which is valid. Now I know how to get rid of stuff. Okay. She ignored him. He might be the avatar, but when it came to her officially assigned duties, she reigned above him. And Kyoshi needed this right now. She needed this normalcy to bury what Kelsang had told her. Despite her best efforts, it kept rising from below, the notion that she was betraying Yoon and swallowing up what belonged to him. He lounged on his elbows. As he lounged on his elbows, Kyoshi noticed Yoon wasn't wearing his embroidered indoor slippers. "Are those new boots?" she said, pointing at his feet. The leather they were crafted from was a beautiful, soft gray tone, with fur trim like powdery morning snow. Probably baby turtle seal hide, she thought with revulsion. Yoon tensed up. "I found them in the pile earlier." "They don't fit you. Give them over." "I'd rather not." He scooched backwards, but was hedged in by more boxes. She crawled over to peer at the boots from a closer angle. Did you stuff the extra space with bandages? They're ridiculously too big for you. Take them off." She got to her knees and grabbed his foot with both hands. "Kyoshi, please!" She paused and looked up at his face. It was filled with pure dread, and he rarely ever raised his voice at her. It was the second time today a person important to her had acted strangely. She forced herself to acknowledge the two incidents weren't related. So he'd suddenly developed an intense taste for footwear. She'd make a note of it. We'll talk about it later, but it's because his feet are hurting from that thing that he had to do earlier. Yoon sat up and put his hands on Kyoshi's shoulders, fixing her with his jade green eyes. She'd long since become inured to his flirty smiles whenever he wanted a rise out of her, his puppy dog pout when he wanted a favor, but his expression of earnest desire was a weapon he didn't pull out often. Oh, whoa. The way his troubled thoughts softened the sharp edges of his face was heart-piercing. "Spill it," she said. "What's bothering you?" "I want you to come on a journey with me," he said quietly. "I need you by my side." Kyoshi nearly choked on her surprise. He was offering a taste of the world that only an exalted few got to sample. To be a companion of the Avatar, even for a moment, was an honor beyond reckoning. Flying into the sunset, huddled close to Yoon, the wind in their hair, if Aoma and the other villagers were jealous of her before, they'd go foaming mad with envy now. "What kind of trip is this?" she said, unconsciously lowering herself to his volume. "Where is this taking place?" "The Eastern Sea, near the South Pole," he said. "I'm signing a new treaty with Tagaka." Well, so much for fantasy. Kyoshi knocked Yoon's hands off her shoulders and sat back on her knees properly. The motion felt like it helped drain the heat out of her face. A bisexual queen. "The Fifth Nation," she said. "You're going to sit at a table with the Fifth Nation? And you want me to come with you?" What was she going to do surrounded by a band of bloodthirsty pirates that was bigger than most Earth Kingdom provincial militias? Sweep up their cutlasses? Cutlasses or cutlasses? Cutlasses. My mom, she's a voiceover actor, so she knows how to pronounce words. "I know how much you hate outlaws," Yoon said. "I thought you might appreciate seeing a victory over them up close. It's only political, but still." Kyoshi puffed her cheeks out in frustration. Yoon, I am basically your nanny, she said. You need Rangi for this mission. Better yet, you need the Fire Lord's entire personal legion. Rangi's coming. But I want you as well. You won't be there to fight if things go wrong. He stared at his own feet. You'll just stand around and watch me as things go right. For the love of... Why? Perspective, he said. I need your perspective. He pulled out a Pai Sho tile that he'd nicked from the set she'd put away and squinted at it like a jeweler in the light. Is it sad that I want a regular person there? He said. Someone who'll be scared and impressed and overwhelmed just like me and not another professional avatar monitor? That afterward I want you to tell me I'm as good as Yang Shen or Salai, regardless of whether or not that's true. Salai. Someone said that Setso was the fire guy before. We'll talk about it later. He laughed bitterly. I know it sounds stupid, but I think I need the presence of someone who cares about me first, and history second. I want you to be proud of me, Yoon, not satisfied with the performance of the avatar. Kyoshi didn't know what to do. This idea sounded mind-numbingly dangerous. She wasn't equipped to follow the avatar into politics or battle, not like the great companions of past generations. Her stomach wound into a knot as she thought of the secret between her and Kelsang. They wouldn't get the time they needed to figure that matter out. The world demanded an avatar or else. It'll be safer than it sounds, Yoon said. Oddly enough, most Dao Fei gangs hold quite a bit of respect for the avatar. Either they're superstitious about the avatar's spiritual powers, or intimidated by someone who can drop all 4 elements on their heads at once. He tried to sound lighthearted, but he looked more and more pained the longer she kept him waiting in silence. Then again, was it so dire of a choice? Genju would never risk Yoon's life, and she had a hard time believing Yoon would risk hers. Really, the situation wasn't as grand or complicated as she made it out to be. Avatar business and the fate of the Earth Kingdom was for other people and other times. Right now, Kyoshi's friend was depending on her. She'd be there for him. I'll come, she said. Someone has to clean up whatever mess you make. Yoon shuddered with relief. He caught her fingers and brought them gently to his cheek, nuzzling into them as if they were ice for a fever. Thank you, he said. This is a lot, you guys. Kyoshi flushed all the way down to her toes. Honestly, mood. She reminded herself that his casual tendency to be close to her, to share touches, was just part of his personality. She'd caught glimpses and heard stories from the staff that confirmed it. One time, he'd kissed the hand of the Princess of Omashu for a second longer than normal and scored an entire new trade agreement as a result. Nice. It had taken her a very, very long time after starting at the house to convince herself she was not in love with Yoon. Moments like this threatened to undo all of her hard work. She let herself plunge under the surface and enjoy being washed over by this simple contact. Yoon reluctantly put her hand down. 3, he said, cocking his ear at the ceramic tiled floor with a smile. 2, 1. Rangi slid the door open with a sharp click. Avatar. She bowed deeply and solemnly to Yoon. Then she turned to Kyoshi. You've barely made any progress! Look at this mess! This whole dynamic between the 3 of them, I cannot. We were waiting for you, Yoon said. We decided to burn everything. You can start with those hideous silk robes in the corner. As your avatar, I command you to light them up, right now. Rangi rolled her eyes, yes, and set the entire mansion on fire. She always tried as hard as she could to remain dignified in front of Yoon, but she cracked on occasion. And it was usually during the times when the 3 of them, the youngest people in the complex, were alone together. So cute. Exactly, Yoon said cheerily. Burn it all to the ground. Reduce it back to nature. We'll achieve pure states of mind. You would start whining the moment you had to bathe with cold water, Kyoshi said to him. There's a solution for that, Yoon said. Everyone would go to the river, strip down naked, grab the nearest firebender, and pta, pta. A decorative pillow hit him in the face. Kyoshi's eyes went wide in disbelief. Rangi looked utterly horrified at what she'd done. She'd attacked the avatar. She stared at her hands like they were covered in blood. A traitor's eternal punishment awaited her in the afterlife. Yoon burst into laughter. Kyoshi followed, her sides shaking until they hurt. Rangi tried not to succumb, clamping her hand over her mouth, but despite her best efforts, little giggles and snorts leaked through her fingers. An older member of the staff walked past, frowning at the trio through the open door, which set them off further. Kyoshi looked at Yoon and Rangi's beautiful, unguarded faces, freed from the weight of their duties, if only for a moment. Her friends. She thought of how unlikely it was that she'd found them. This is what I need to protect. Yoon defended the world, and Rangi defended him. But as far as Kyoshi was concerned, her own sacred ground was marked by the limits where her friends stood. This is what I need to keep safe above all else. The sudden clarity of her realization caused her mirth to evaporate. She maintained a rictus grin so that the others wouldn't notice her change in mood. Her fist tightened around nothing. And the spirits help anyone who would take this from me. And that is the end of chapter 6, folks. Oh boy, I love their dynamic. They're just so cute. Think about it, you guys. They're all 16. Zuko with 16. So they're all Zuko's age right now. That is confirmed. And they're so cute. It's adorable. I'm screaming. So basically, Kyoshi and Yoon are going through all of his presents because he gets so many presents from everyone. And they have to sort through them. And we learned that Kyoshi's job is just low-key to, like, pick up after Yoon because he's so messy. So that's kind of her main job. And she probably does some other stuff that, no, they have not found out yet that she's the Avatar. She probably does some other stuff that Auntie Mui assigns to her, but her main thing is to just pick up after you. And so they're going through his toys, and then he's wearing some boots, and Kyoshi's like, why are you wearing boots? And we know it's because he did that really hard firebending training earlier, and his feet really hurt. And so Kyoshi's about to take them off, and he's like, Kyoshi! And then the air just kind of changed. Hi, Adam. The air just kind of changes in the room. And then he's like, Kyoshi, can you go on this trip with me? And she's like, who, me? I'd love to. And then he's like, it's to sign a treaty with Tagaka. And she's like, what? I don't want to go on that trip. It's too scary and dangerous. But then, and she's like, take Rangi. And he's like, I am taking Rangi, but can you come too? She's like, why? And he's like, it's because it's so stressful and I just need someone who will be proud of me for me and not for being the Avatar. And I just need a normal person to be normal with me there. And she's like, okay. And then we learn all about how Kyoshi low-key has a crush on him. A bi queen. And then I love how he goes 3, 2, 1. And then Rangi walks in. Maybe he's like good at that earthbender hearing thing. And then Rangi comes in and she's like, the Avatar. And then she turns to Kyoshi and she's like, why haven't you finished? And Yoon's like, burn it all, ha ha ha. And they all start joking. And she throws a pillow at him. And she's like, oh no, I threw a pillow at the Avatar. But then he starts laughing. And then they all start laughing. And while they're laughing, Kyoshi's like, this is what I need to protect. These people, I love them so much. They're my friends. I'm so lucky to have them as my friends. And I will protect them at all costs. And the spirits help anyone who would take this from me. Ooh, boy. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I also agree. I'm barely part of the Rangi and Kyoshi fandom, but they are already the greatest ship ever. And I also love that she like has a crush on Yoon, and we also know, I think she might be less aware of her crush on Rangi. But I love that she low-key has a crush on both of them because that's such a mood. Like that is the eternal bi mood. Just like crushing on your friends of both genders and being like, oops. Who's Salai, you guys? S-A-L-A-I. People were saying Avatar Setso is the one right before Yangshen and he's a firebender. Who's Salai? Is Salai the earthbender before Avatar Setso? Do you think bloodbending could be used in the medical field? Absolutely. If someone has a wound and they're bleeding out, just be like... Sorry, this is so gross today. I'm answering your questions. These are your questions, folks. Shing-a-ling. Look out. Oh, Lord. Let's change the topic. No, you can ask whatever you want. Feel the storm and rain in the air. I love that Yoon is just flirting with everyone. He's flirting with Kyoshi, he's flirting with Rangi. Okay, but also, can we talk about such a big mood when she's like, I know he's flirting with me, but he flirts with everyone, so I can't take this to heart. Wait, where's the line? And she was like, it had taken her a very, very long time after starting at the house to convince herself she was not in love with Yoon. Like, that's so cute. She's like, I'm not in love with him. I'm not. And then she's like, but she let herself, I'm just gonna reread this whole paragraph. Moments like this threatened to undo all of her hard work. She let herself plunge under the surface and enjoy being washed over by the simple contact. That is the biggest mood. The biggest mood. Anyways. Oh my gosh, you guys, I accidentally just read the first line of the next chapter. I'll just read the first line. It's, Kyoshi's nightmare smelled like wet bison. I don't know.
Is the next chapter iceberg?
Yeah. She's so excited. Front and center. Do you wanna, next week, do you wanna like set it up where you're sitting next to me during the iceberg chapter? Or is that too much?
We'll see.
We'll see, she said.
I don't want to give it away. I will have spoilers.
I know, but I feel like if you're like in the next room going like, like that might be worse.
Yeah.
Like maybe it'll be funny. Like I feel like it would be fun for them to watch you be like, and then like, okay, wouldn't that be fun? It's up to you. It's your call. Because I know she'll want to like get drunk. Diana says, let mom in. Hilarious. Guys, if you think my reactions are funny, my mom's reactions are even better. Yeah, hashtag mom reacts. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Like I'll put it side by side like this. And I also, can we talk about how I really, really love that, you know, Kyoshi's really hesitant to go into danger and do all of this. But then what makes her decide to do it is to save her friends and to look out for her friends because she loves them so much. That's just like, oh, it's so cute. It's so wholesome. Whenever people suggest stuff that's already on my spreadsheet, I just add their username to it so that when I do it, I credit everyone. I like to record them all in one go. I've done the captions at different times that I've recorded them before, but I like to just record it all at once. Because then it's just like peak silliness, peak energy, peak crazy time, all at once. Who's a better mentor, Gyatso or Dumbledore? Gyatso! Oh! Alright, let's get into this. Yes, let's get into this, folks. Dumbledore raised Harry like a lamb for the slaughter. And I'm not saying that he didn't need to do that. I think he did. I think what he did worked, but my guy, like, ooh, he literally, I feel like he did, I get that he had to live with the Dursleys because of the blood, not curse, the blood spell thing, relative family spell thing, but like, there was a better way they could have done that. He knew he was putting Harry into an abusive household. McGonagall watched them, and I bet they were surveilling him those whole 11 years. Like, that was child abuse. And J.K. Rowling even said that it's a kid's book, and that's the only reason that she didn't put, like, physical, like, hitting and stuff in the books. So, like, it's kind of canon that was also a thing that the Dursleys did. And I feel like Dumbledore could have managed that better. And I feel like, Dumbledore, like, he collects people. Like, not trophies like Slughorn, but as tools. He makes people feel special. He does really good stuff for people. And, you know, he's advocates for everyone. Like, Hagrid, he brings everyone under his wing so that they feel like they owe him something later when he needs them most. And Harry, he knows that Harry was raised in such a way and that he has such a heart that he will sacrifice himself. I'm very passionate about this. He will sacrifice himself when the time comes. And Dumbledore let him. And yes, that needed to happen, I guess. But like, yeah. So whereas Gyatso, like from what we've seen, he was just like giving Aang all the time that he possibly could, and, you know, and he was trying to fight to keep Aang at the Southern Air Temple, and, you know, and can we talk about how, can we talk about how, people have been talking about how, Gyatso, okay, go look at the room, you can look at that would be enough TikTok, it's in there, it's also in the What Did I Miss TikTok. Look at the room where Gyatso's body is, and all the firebender bodies. His, skeleton is in perfectly good shape. It is not burnt. He did not burn to death. And all those firebender bodies, like, what, did he use a blast of air to slam them? No, they would all be against the wall if he did that. People are saying that he sucked the air out of that room, and that's how he killed all of them, including himself. So impressive. Like, that has nothing to do with him mentoring Aang, but I thought that was really cool. Toph or Katara, don't make me choose. Don't make me choose. Toph, I guess, but don't hold me to that. I love Katara. Do you wish that Snape and Lily ended up together? I kind of do. Theo, this slander. Snape, like, he called her a mudblood. Listen, I understand that James, I don't know why I'm holding these Post-its. I understand that James, was really mean. I'm gonna not curse. That he was a really mean 15-year-old. But it does appear that he changed to a degree that Lily loved him enough to marry him. So I do believe that he probably did change. We didn't really get to see him change. So that's what fanfic is for. Maybe 5th year, maybe that moment was the deciding moment and Lily was like, you need to get your stuff together. And maybe it took all of 5th year to 6th year, 7th year, maybe even a little after 7th year for him to really become a better person. But I think he did. Whereas Snape, like, I don't know why I get into my Snape. No, I can get into this. Snape literally, like, his students, what's the word? Bullies. He bullies students. He bullies children. If you bully children, first of all, you should not be a teacher if you bully children. And like, it's not just Harry. He bullies Harry because he has a grudge. But he bullies everyone, especially Neville. The fact that Neville's boggart is Snape, that his parents were literally tortured out of their minds, and his greatest fear is his potions teacher, that is a lot of bullying. So go watch my TikTok about the one where it's Dua Lipa's song, the did a full 180, did a full 180. That one is about Snape, but I think even that TikTok is too nice to him. The hardest part about being a Harry Potter fan is J.K. Rowling herself. Retweet. I wish Korra was more powerful. Korra's pretty powerful. But okay. Do I hate Aang? No! No, of course not. Love Aang. What about Flickwick's redesign where he went from a magic hobo to a stylish short man? Have you guys seen that fan art of the Fab Five giving Flitwick a makeover? It's so funny, because it's true. Realistically, Azula would be an abusive partner in a relationship, probably. But I do like the reading of the beach episode in that Azula thinks she's jealous of Ty Lee for getting all the guys, but she's really just jealous of all the guys for getting Ty Lee, because that's a big sapphic mood when you think you're jealous of the girl. When you think you're jealous of the girl because you think you like the guy, when in reality you actually have a crush on the girl and you're actually jealous of the guy, but you're, you know, internalized homophobia. That's the thing, folks. That's the thing. It happened to me. What would happen if there was light bending? That's a really cool thought, like almost like a Deluminator type thing. I love that thought. I did like the ATLA comics. I've read all of the Avatar ones. And then I'm gonna wait to read the Korra ones, which my mom got me for my birthday. I'm gonna wait to read that until after I finish my Korra rewatch. But I loved them. I kind of liked them less and less as they went on. Like The Promise, I loved The Promise, and I loved The Search, and I really liked The Rift, and I thought that Smoke and Shadow was fine, and that North and South was fine, and I didn't really like Imbalance, so it went like that. But I enjoyed reading all of them. Who do you think Sokka should have ended up with? Y'all know I ship Zuka. You know I ship Zuka. But I also ship Suka. Like, you need to understand, whenever I say that I ship Zuka, like, Sokka and Suki is the most adorable thing ever. I was taking a screenshot of the beach, not the beach episode, but the first Sozin's Comet, part 1, and they have their beach party, and like Sokka's so cute, like, you know, he loves her so much, and she loves his craziness. So as my friends will know, someone asked, what are you gonna be for Halloween? As my friends will know, I just got this jumpsuit that I am in love with. It's the one that I'm wearing in the time lapse on my TikTok. And I'm kind of just like, I want to pick something where I can wear that jumpsuit and have it be my Halloween costume. Ainu's consent king. Is he though? Is he? No, he isn't. Have you seen the Ember Island players? She's like, I'm confused. I don't really want to think about relationships right now. And then he kisses her. It's like, I'm sorry. Did she say, please kiss me? Like, no. Next week we'll read the Iceberg chapter, which is apparently wild. Let's see how many pages it is. It starts on 64. Well, okay, today's chapter started on 56 and ended on 63, so that's pretty short. The Iceberg starts on 64 and ends on, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh! Whoa, Mom, you're right. Oh my god, oh my god.
Are you looking at the length of the chapter?
Yeah, the Iceberg.
Yes, you gotta put that into your time.
Y'all, the Iceberg is 40 pages.
You might have to break it up.
I might have to break it up. There are a lot of little pauses. Here, I'm trying not to spoil it for myself. I'm not gonna flip through, because I don't want to get spoiled accidentally. I might have to break it up into 2 readings. I'll do that for longer chapters. Wowza, 40 pages. All right, folks, I am ending the live stream. Fun times. Oh, it's 2 a.m. and you're watching the live stream? Thank you. I feel like it's a fun thing to watch at 2 a.m.